Chapter 26. Emma. "How are you feeling this morning?" Emma asked, as William walked into the kitchen the next morning.
"Better. I'm sorry I fell asleep on you last night before I could tell you my story, and thank you for the couch."
"I would have put you in Pa's room if you hadn't fallen asleep on the couch." Emma poured coffee into a mug and handed it to him with a smile. "I tried to rouse you, but it was no use. You were not waking." William took the mug and flashed a warm smile in return.
"It was a crazy few days. Shall I tell you about it now?"
He pulled out a chair and sat at the table. "You could." Emma sat across from him and cupped her mug, enjoying the warmth it exuded. "But you'll probably have to retell the story when the rest of the family wakes. They'll be wanting to hear it too."
"That's okay."
William paused as he took a sip of the hot liquid.
"I don't mind telling it again."
Emma took a sip of her own mug of coffee flavored with milk and sugar, and therefore more of a brown color than William's stark black. She turned to him and listened as he told his story. "William, you are so lucky that you weren't injured more. Please tell me you won't do this again." William smiled and took her hand.
"Holden is back in custody, and while there are other outlaws I helped bring in out there, I have no plans to go chasing after them. In fact, I wanted to ask you about our wedding. After reuniting with my sister and catching up on lost time, I realized I don't want to waste any more. I think I can finish the house this week if Jesse will help me. Do you think you can be ready?"
Surprise and elation filled Emma. She couldn't wait to marry William either, but she hadn't thought he would suggest such a short engagement. Could she be ready in that little time? "I need to bake the cake, of course, and get some flowers. Make sure the church is free, but I'm sure that won't be an issue. The biggest thing will be altering the dress. I'm using the same dress I wore when I married Joseph, but I'd like to alter it some for a fresh start."
"You will look beautiful in whatever you wear."
William's eyes roved over her face.
"But I'm willing to wait if you need more time."
Emma shook her head. "No, I think with Kate's and Carrie's help, I can be ready in a week."
"Good. It's settled then."
He squeezed her hand, and then their moment was broken by the entrance of the rest of her siblings. They bombarded William with questions, so Emma began making breakfast. As she scrambled up eggs, she could barely contain the smile that played across her lips. In less than a week, she would be married again, and she couldn't wait. William.
"Thank you again for your help,"
William said, as he and Jesse dismounted and tied up the horses.
"There isn't much left to finish, but with only one arm completely working, it would have taken me much longer than a week." "No problem."
Jesse picked up the bucket containing the gray cement mixture from the porch and began scanning for any cracks.
"Just out of curiosity, though, is there a reason for such a short engagement? This incident with Holden just reminded me that we don't know how much time we have. I don't want to waste any of it."
William picked up a trowel and added some mixture to a small crack in the wall. Because he had the money, he had opted to build a stone house, and their goal today was daubing, filling any cracks in so that the house would stay warmer come winter. After they completed filling the cracks, he only needed to finish furnishing it.
"I can understand that."
Jesse leaned closer to the wall and applied some coating.
"Will Emma be able to get everything she needs in so little time, though?"
William chuckled and raised an eyebrow.
"I guess that depends on your wife as well. I'm sure Emma is over there right now getting help on whatever alterations she wants to make to her wedding dress."
Jesse's laugh was full and hearty.
"I guess it's a good thing Kate picked up some sewing techniques in the last few months then. I'm sure she is enjoying helping Emma. She didn't get to plan much for our wedding."
He stepped back and narrowed his eyes as he scanned for any remaining cracks.
"Has it been hard for you?" "Has what been hard?"
Jesse smoothed another area and then dropped the trowel back in the bucket.
"Retiring. You know, giving up law enforcement."
Jesse ran a hand down his cheek as he thought.
"Well, I wasn't a deputy sheriff for long. Remember, I only became one to avenge Pauline's death. After Kate and I married, I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue. When Kate told me she was with child, I knew I needed to step down and return to ranching. Not being a deputy doesn't ensure my safety, but it gives me better odds of avoiding being shot. So I guess to answer your question, no, it hasn't been that hard. Did you avenge her death?
William leaned down to get more caulking.
I guess we got all the guys who were involved in her death, but it never really made me feel better. Yeah, I can understand that feeling. Nothing eased my guilt after losing Catherine either. Are you having second thoughts?
William sighed.
Not second thoughts so much as a worry. What if I can't do this life? I mean, I was a deputy sheriff and a Texas Ranger before I was a bounty hunter. All I know is action, and to be truthful, there was a bit of excitement the last few days that I've missed. No one said you had to just sit at home. I mean, I understand you have the money, but you could still work. You must, in fact, to keep this farm running. Farming is a different kind of work, but it's still work. That is true, and I'm sure God will help me find content with my life. I promised Emma it would be the last time I went chasing outlaws.
A look of amusement crossed Jesse's face, and he nodded.
I have no doubt God will keep you fulfilled. Besides, Emma is the kind of woman who will keep you on your toes.
William smiled as he pictured his flaxen-haired fiancée. She was definitely a Spitfire woman, but he loved that most of all about her.
She wants kids, you know, a whole house full.
Jesse took off his hat and wiped sweat from his forehead. Though only late morning, the sun was beating down. He replaced his hat and regarded William a moment.
Are you not keen on the idea? It's not that I don't want them.
William paused as he thought about what he wanted to say.
But this life isn't easy, and I'm not sure I can handle any more loss. You have a baby on the way. Aren't you afraid? Maybe a little, but I can't live my life in fear. I have to trust that God will protect my family. You're right.
William took a step back and regarded his handiwork.
Well, I think the outside is finished. Now I just have to finish the inside. What else needs to be done?
William ran a hand across his chin, covered in stubble from lack of shaving.
I already made the dining table and chairs. There's a bed as well, but I'd like a few small tables and a couch. Of course, those aren't necessary to have before moving in. Do you think Emma would mind if not all the furniture was finished? I think Emma will love it regardless. It will definitely be the biggest house in town. Is that a bad thing?
William didn't want to appear ostentatious. He hadn't even thought about the size when he had planned the house. He just wanted something big enough to have a family in.
No, I think it's what this town needs. I've been in plenty of other towns that have large ranch houses. We have been behind the times, but maybe seeing this will inspire others to dream bigger. I'd like to enlarge my own homestead. Perhaps you'd be amenable to helping?
Jesse punctuated his crooked smile with an eyebrow raise.
Of course, my friend. We should look at doing that soon with that baby on the way. It can wait until you heal completely. The last thing I want is Emma on my case about re-injuring you or making that wound worse.
William smiled and clapped his friend on his shoulder with his good hand.
You're right about that. She is a good nurse, but I'd rather suffer no more injuries. How about we look at the wood in the barn and see if we have enough to make the couch? The tables can probably wait, but I'm guessing Emma would like a place to sit in the living room. Lead the way.